Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for watching us tonight. Well, there are many viewers mad at me because of my opinion about the prosecution of President Clinton after he leaves office. I'll read some of your letters at the end of the broadcast, and that's the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Russ Bridger, who lives in Minneapolis, writes, Bill, I am so outraged at how the Clintons have gotten away with so much that I, in my own way, am seeking vengeance. Mr. Bridger's blunt honesty reflects the thinking of many Americans, but it cannot reflect mine. As a news analyst, I cannot be seeking vengeance against anyone or anything. My job is to find out the truth and present it to you. Now, there are commentators like Rush Limbaugh on the right and Alan Dershowitz on the left who actively campaign for a point of view. I can't be doing that. I have to examine each case without emotion or ideology. That's what a no-spin zone is all about. As you know, if you watch The Factor, no reporter in the country has been tougher on President Clinton than I have been. But that toughness has been based on facts and reason, not emotion or political point of view. My sources tell me that independent counsel Robert Ray is gearing up to bring major heat on the president. He continues to spend money and bring in aggressive investigators. If Mr. Ray has evidence that the president has engaged in a pattern of corruption while in office, I say prosecute him to the fullest extent. Even if the charges stem from the Paula Jones case, I'm okay with that if Ray indicates Mr. Clinton did bad things in other areas like Travelgate and Whitewater. This would be an Al Capone type prosecution. We know he did major crimes, but we can only get him on tax evasion. That kind of situation is fair, but you have to spell it out for the American people. But if Mr. Ray finds that President Clinton did nothing else wrong outside the Jones-Lewinsky matter, then I say put it on the record, but don't prosecute. We've already been through that in Congress. Mr. Clinton's legacy is forever stained no matter how he spins it. Talking Points understands the negative emotions that both the Clintons engender, but hatred is never productive. Mr. Clinton may not have learned a lesson, but the country has. He has failed in his job and is not respected by the majority of Americans as a person. Convicting him and giving him community service or something may humiliate him further, but it will not accomplish anything else. And that's the memo. Now for the top story tonight as the world awaits the reunification of Elian Gonzalez and his father. There's another story concerning American children that few have heard about. Some kids have been kidnapped and taken to foreign countries, and the Justice Department does little about it. With us now is attorney Michael Wilds, who is also a former federal prosecutor. And Counselor, you're telling me before the program began is 11,000 American children who have been kidnapped, mostly by one parent or the other, taken to a foreign country, and our government does nothing.
These are primarily cross-cultural relationships where people have been absconded with, taken to other countries. Parents have had to march themselves into foreign soils to no avail or help from the State Department or the Justice Department. It's a total affront, the personal attention that the Attorney General is giving right now to these parents who have had to march themselves into Muslim, into Japanese, into all kinds of courts, only to find out that they have no rights and that their elected officials back home won't assist them.
Well, when you see the Elian Gonzalez case then, although it's a little bit different because Elian Gonzalez comes here
right.
Under our law, then the other kids have been taken away from us. So it is a little bit different. But what do you see? What do you think's going on here?
Well, again, it seems right now that they're not allowing this boy a day in court, that they're procedurally posturing this to deny him an opportunity, which to me shows a political effect. We have represented defectors, political diplomats, whistleblowers, nuclear scientists. Never does a case like this or those take on anything without the involvement of the Attorney General. And the fact remains that the Attorney General has a political interest by involving herself in this case.
So you believe that Ms. Reno has injected herself in this because President Clinton wanted Elian Gonzalez to be sent back to Cuba for whatever reason. We really don't know why, and that's why she's taking so much time. But to be fair to Ms. Reno, what can she possibly do if you're working on 3 cases right now. One's in Saudi Arabia, the other's in Lebanon, I guess.
Right.
And
we were successful in getting 3 kids back from Syria.
From Syria. All right. So what can Janet Reno do in Saudi Arabia? What can she possibly do?
Well, she can do an extraordinary amount of things. The fact is that our administration brokers for military installations for all kinds of financial means with Boeing deals on the table and everything. The fact is they have a tremendous amount of leverage to return these children onto U.S. soil. But they won't do that because the State Department has continually protected the financial interests of the United States. And unfortunately, the administration has a different agenda.
All right, but that's the State Department. You know, what can Janet Reno and the Justice Department do in Saudi Arabia?
There are laws on the books that clients of mine have been able to help Congress promulgate that the Justice Department has to be a little more adversarial to prosecute. That is, parents that abscond with foreign children, parents who abscond with children taken to other countries and then come back to our shores need to be prosecuted.
And they're not?
They're not being prosecuted with the same vigilance that we look towards other countries and the criticism that they're giving to the Gonzalez matter. Also, people who give safe haven to child abductors overseas need to be prosecuted as well.
Sure, we can indict them here and, as we have many times before, hold a trial without them present and fine them or do whatever. We've done that to Iran.
One of my cases, Miss Roush, had her children taken many years ago, only to find out that relatives who had given safe haven to her husband, child abductor, had then come in for surgery in the United States. We have laws on the books now that will stop people from coming to our shores if they give a safe haven to child abductors.
Are you 100% positive the Justice Department doesn't care about this at all?
I think they care about it, but it's more of a political posturing. They write letters, they give you lists of the attorneys that you can go to. They'll conduct welfare visits where they can actually go and see the child. But, you know, these letters and memos are going from ambassadors straight to the White House. And no move is made in these countries, particularly Middle Eastern countries, without the acquiescence of the White House.
So we have 11,000, bottom line, 11,000 American kids who have been kidnapped from this country in overseas situations, and the only name that everybody watching knows is Elian Gonzalez.
And the fact remains that these kids have U.S. passports. They're just as much a citizen as you and I are, Bill.
Something wrong. Okay, Counselor, we appreciate you coming in. Thanks very much. And next, a father's rights advocate weighs in on justice for Elian. We'll have him react.